You're listening to AI Prism from Seoul Economic Daily.
Welcome to the deep dive, everyone. So today we are unpacking some reporting from the Seoul Economic Daily, and it's about a market that basically defies all logic right now.
Yeah, it really does. We're looking at Seoul's 2026 real estate landscape today.
Right, exactly. And our mission today for you listening is to really figure out why these wait lists for apartments are just like exploding, especially when we have record high costs and, a severely strained currency.
I mean, it's a total buying frenzy out there.
It really is. Like, we're seeing places like Nolryangjin's Define Artia pricing units at up to 2.76 billion won, which is roughly 1.9 million US dollars.
Yeah, nearly $2 million.
Yeah.
And they still have a 16.5 to 1 wait list for those units.
That is insane. And then over in Jangwi Newtown, it's even wilder, right? Like 81 to 1 for the smaller units.
Yeah, 81 to 1.
It's honestly like a chaotic scramble for front row concert tickets, but, for multi-million-dollar homes. So I have to ask, if asking prices are at these absolute record highs, shouldn't demand naturally be cooling off for you as a buyer?
You would certainly think so, yeah. I mean, in a normal market, those prices would definitely scare people away.
Right.
But what we're actually seeing here is a market driven by a really massive, persistent new supply shortage.
Oh, so it's a supply issue.
Exactly. People aren't buying because they're getting a good deal.
Yeah.
They're buying out of panic, essentially.
Right.
They look at the landscape and realize there just aren't enough new homes being built tomorrow.
So they just grab whatever they can today.
Right. They're aggressively targeting whatever limited core supply is actually available right now.
Okay. So if you are priced out of buying those core units, you obviously still have to live somewhere.
Of course.
So let's transition to the rental shift, because that market is just transforming completely.
It really is. And to understand this shift, we have to look at Korea's unique jeonse system.
Right, the lump sum deposit thing.
Exactly.
Right.
So traditionally, instead of paying a monthly rent check, you hand the landlord a massive lump sum deposit. I mean, sometimes up to 70% of the home's value.
Wow, 70%.
Yeah, it's huge. And the landlord invests it, keeps the interest as their profit, and then gives your original money back when you eventually move out.
It's such a fascinating economic mechanism for anyone used to Western renting, but the data shows that jeonse is in sharp decline now, right?
It is, yeah. The top 5 bank jeonse loans just dropped to about 121.18 trillion won.
Which is roughly 84.4 billion US dollars, for context.
Right, exactly. Meanwhile, WOLS, which is, traditional monthly rent, is totally taking over. It now makes up 68.6% of all Seoul rental transactions.
Wait, hold on. If I'm paying a monthly rent instead of scraping together that giant lump sum, doesn't that actually free up my cash?
Well, it does lower the immediate cash you need to get through the door.
Right. So does this shift to monthly rent actually ease the upfront capital burden for you, or does it just trap you in a new monthly squeeze? Because, even with the government pushing these third new town subsidized public housing projects to help out, a monthly rent check still feels like a heavy anchor if you're trying to build wealth.
Yeah, that's the exact tension right now.
Yeah.
Gets you in the door, but it introduces a continuous drain on your income.
A monthly drain, yeah.
And this is all happening while the broader economic picture gets really complicated, particularly with the currency.
Oh, the one weakness.
Exactly. The one recently weakened past 1,554 per dollar. Which, by the way, is the softest we've seen since 2009.
Wow, 2009.
Yeah. And we're also seeing massive foreign net selling on the KOSPI index. It hit 1.7 trillion won, or about 1.15 billion US dollars, in just a single day.
That currency strain is huge. So, what does this all mean when we put the pieces together, especially for anyone trying to finance in foreign currency?
It completely changes the math. Because of the shift away from jeonse, your upfront capital requirements fall.
Because you don't need the massive deposit.
Right. But because the won is so weak, any won-denominated carrying costs suddenly become much more expensive in dollar terms. So it's a really delicate balancing act for both investors and renters.
That makes sense. And I'm glad you brought up the broader risks, actually, because there's a massive warning sign flashing in the auction data right now.
Whoa, the Mapo district numbers.
Yeah. Small units in the Mapo district are selling for 171.5% of their appraised value at auction. That is wild.
It is. And that 171.5% premium is critical to watch.
Why is that?
Because when you have small apartments going for that much over appraisal, it points to a heavily overheating segment.
Ah, okay.
Analysts are flagging this as the specific area most likely to plummet first if the broader market turns. It's essentially the canary in the coal mine.
Yeah, it sounds like a highly precarious situation all around, which really leaves you to ponder something pretty major.
What's that?
Well, if high costs and this currency strain cause Korea's unique jeonse system to disappear permanently, how will transitioning to a purely monthly rent economy permanently alter social mobility and wealth building for the next generation?
That is the big question.
Definitely something to think about on your own. But anyway, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the numbers. We'll catch you next time.
You've been listening to AI Prism from Seoul Economic Daily.